Hey, it's Emily Reagan here. I help virtual assistants become highly paid, highly prized marketing assistants. And today I have Linda Vogt here to talk about how to repurpose your clients' content. So when you're a new social media assistant, you're not ready to take on the full-on strategy. Linda will show you how you can repurpose their content and look like a rock star. What are some tips you have for getting that content from clients and some of like the pitfalls of it?
Yeah, I think that is such a huge factor, right? Because we can produce content, but often if we don't have input from our clients, it's going to be pretty generic. So I always start out in our initial strategy trying to gather as much of what they already have as possible. So pulling from what they have, if it's blogs, if it's, old YouTube content or current, whatever. Sometimes they just have marketing materials that they use, like marketing videos and things like that they'll use, and you can pull from that. I also have a once a month 30-minute meeting where it's just a question and answer session. And, I think my clients see it as the goal of like, hey, what did you like? What did you not like? What do you want to do differently? Let's talk about, the stats, right? But for me, the actual purpose of that is to get them to think about their social media because they're in their business. They're not necessarily thinking about, oh, hey, I need to make a video or I need to take some photos. So getting them for 30 minutes to sit down with you and say, hey, like, what does next month look like for you? What do you have going on? What's on your calendar? And by the time they kind of give you all that information, you're like, okay, I have like a whole bunch of content
Yeah.
for next month where we can just pull this together and have something that's more personal to their business rather than just something like generic.
What are some examples of different goals other than follower count?
Okay, so I actually never ask my clients for a follower count goal or a likes goal. We do look at those stats, but they're not what we are focused on. They're good. They let us know what's working. But really, what we want to do is focus on, like, okay, well, what are your actual marketing goals? What are your actual sales goals? What are those things? And then are we targeting those things? So, it's really saying like, well, what kind of numbers do you need to have in that course that you're launching? You need 10 people, you need 30 people. What do you need to have? And
Mhm.
then how can we be as effective as possible? Now, that is the goal that we would be setting. And then we would be targeting our social media marketing, just like you would with regular marketing, on those actual goals. And you can track those things. I don't ever promise results, but you can track those things. You can start to see like, oh, okay, they were clicking through to the link off of this post. So that got their interest. Okay, let's make another post like that next week to help draw in that same kind of audience.
Oh my gosh, that's so smart. Do you have any other like red flags when it comes to social media clients?
I do think that is a big red flag to me. I think if a client came to me and their only goals were those, vanity metrics, I would just probably say, hey, I'm not the right person. I've had other people say to me things like, well, what kind of guarantees can you give me? And to me, that's kind of a red flag because I can't.
What are some best practices or tips to help mine your clients' content? And then that way they can be more hands off and you can be more hands
Right.
on working to the level you're at now.
So, like I said, I think starting out with as much off of the social media platform that you're currently using. So, if they have a YouTube channel or something, that's a ton of content that I can repurpose that they don't have to recreate. Sometimes people come to you with, lots of social media content on the platform that you're already using. So, if you have that already, because the thing that I always think about and always tell my clients is, do you remember what you posted 2 months ago? Do you? Like, no, you don't remember. And guess what? Nobody else remembers either. And there's always like fresh ways to talk about the things. So we never want to get stuck with like, oh, we always have to create new content or think of new ideas. You really shouldn't be. You should be repurposing and reusing because your client has the same content platform, right? They're still talking about the same things. We're just finding different ways to talk about it. So, using the insights on social media to go back and look through content and see like what were the high performing things that I can redo. Obviously, we want to get the new fresh stuff in too, but do a mixture of it.
Give me some insight on how you organize this.
Okay, so for me, I really like using Trello. So what I do is I do content for the next month, a month ahead of time.
Good.
So when I'm pulling their content, obviously I'm starting from, whatever strategy that we had set up. And then I'll look back and see, if we've been working together for 3 months, now I have 3 months of current, like, here's what's working well for you: carousels, reels, static posts. Oh, people like photos with your face in them, so let's take more of those.
Always.
What's working well for your business, and then you can go back when you're planning that month of content. I can go back and look and see, what performed well a year ago. Okay, what was like the theme of that, or what was that a really super great caption that had tons of information in it that I can repurpose for a carousel. And
Yeah.
then I'm just kind of moving it onto their content calendar, getting everything organized from them visually so that they can just click in, see all the graphics, see the photos, see the edits that I've made, just so that they can really see it all in a snapshot before I post it. If we're just talking about like one platform, Instagram or something, you have like 3 different ways that you're sharing content on there, right? You have your actual feed posts, you have your reels, you have your stories. You shouldn't be just like making one piece of content that goes on the feed post and then that's it. Like, that piece of content is actually at least 3 pieces just for that platform. But then you've got Facebook, if you're managing any other platforms for them,
Mhm.
LinkedIn. You should be helping them to either do it themselves if you're not managing that platform, or like just repurposing it for them yourself.
I've watched you develop your business, like get booked out with clients, and now you have this new strategy. And do you have an audit service that you do as well?
I offer a social media audit where they can go in and download it. It's a workbook, it's a 4-page workbook, and it's just helping them to think through: who is your audience? What does your audience like from you? What do they want to see more of? How can you know that? Well, you're going to look at your insights. And then also, it helps you to kind of do a little audit of yourself. Like, am I spending a ton of time creating content for Facebook? I don't even like doing this. It's not really working. Okay, maybe my shift needs to change, because I think sometimes we just get stuck in doing what we're doing instead of paying attention to, like, is this working for me and my business? And is this working for the people that I'm trying to attract into my business?
Brilliant. Where can we get that social media audit workbook?
So you can go to my Instagram. That's where I'm most active. You can go to my Instagram and click the link at the top, and you can just DM me there and I will get it to you.
Okay, what's your favorite social media scheduler?
So honestly, I just like using the Meta Scheduler. Like I said, most of my clients are Instagram and Facebook, and me too. So I think that's the simplest one to use. It works most of the time. And it's just the least complicated, I think, for people who are unfamiliar with social media.
What's your favorite video editor for Reels?
So most of the reels I do in the Reels app, because I'm not too fancy. My clients aren't too fancy. We don't need 1,000 fancy transitions. But if it is a little more complicated or I need to change something else, I like to use CapCut. Like I said, I'm not super techie. So having tools that you don't need to be super techie to use them. CapCut is pretty intuitive and you can use it pretty simply to get started.
What's the biggest mistake you see people doing on Instagram right now?
I think not showing up, right? So I think not showing up, especially like in your stories. I think it's such a, it's not easy to always show up every day and to like think about like, what am I going to talk about? But I think we overthink it, right? Like I have to say these really specific, targeted kind of thing. And so then people just ignore it. And I think if you can be just showing up, like not even every day, if you can just show up a little bit, you're going to see a lot more growth than if you just ignore it.
What is the number one post every freelancer should have pinned on their Instagram account?
I think the thing that you have to have post is your services, because I feel like if you don't have that pinned, that's just a really quick way for people to see, like, what do you offer and how can I work with you? If you want to have a second one, I think have a second one pinned that shows a little bit about you and about maybe what you offer. So not just you, like, oh, hey, I'm a mom, I have kids, but you in relation to your clients. So here's what I've been able to help my clients do. So think about, like, what do they want to see from you? What would you want to know from your Pinterest manager or your Instagram manager? What would you want to know that they know how to do? And then talk about that so that they can quickly see, oh, okay, she's like actually an expert in this, and maybe I should hire her. Yeah.
I love that. I love that. Everyone listening is going to just eat that up. Thank you.